Hai guys. Stop. Hai guys. Aku Lady dari SMA kelas Why do you look so depressed?
Because we are okay. Because we are okay. Hai guys, perkenalkan aku Angelika dari SMA Makarios dan ini teman aku.
Lady dari SMA Makarios.
Dan hari ini kami akan menjelaskan sedikit tentang suatu negara yang berada di benua
Eropa
yang bernama Italia.
Secara geografis, Italia terletak di Eropa Selatan dan terdiri dari semenanjung Italia yang berbentuk sepatu bot dan sejumlah pulau termasuk dua yang terbesar, yaitu Sisilia dan Sardinia. Letak astronomis Italia adalah 35 derajat lintang utara hingga 47 derajat lintang utara dan 6 derajat bujur timur hingga 19 derajat bujur timur. Dengan ibu kotanya yaitu Roma, Italia memiliki hampir lebih dari 60,35 juta penduduk di negaranya.
Yang pertama adalah Colosseum. Colosseum ini adalah sebuah peninggalan bersejarah berupa arena gladiator yang dibangun oleh para Vespasian. Tempat pertunjukan yang besar berbentuk elips yang disebut sebagai amphitheater atau dengan nama aslinya Flavian Amphitheater, termasuk salah satu dari 69 keajaiban dunia pertengahan. Situs ini terletak di kota kecil di Italia yang bernama Roma, yang didirikan oleh wali kota Vespasian pada masa Domitianus dan diselesaikan oleh anaknya Titus, dan menjadi salah satu karya terbesar dari arsitektur kerajaan Romawi yang pernah dibangun. Colosseum ini dirancang untuk menampung 50.000 orang penonton dengan tinggi 48 meter, panjang 188 meter, lebar 156 meter, dan luas bangunan sekitar 2,5 hektar. Arenanya terbuat dari kayu berukuran 86 meter dikali 54 meter dan tertutup oleh pasir. Bentuk elips dari Colosseum ini berguna untuk mencegah para pemain untuk melarikan diri ke arah sudut bangunan, dan tentunya untuk menjaga para penonton agar berada di wilayah yang aman. Tempat duduk dibagi menjadi beberapa tingkatan berbeda berdasarkan status sosial oleh masyarakat Romawi. Tempat wisata di Italia ini dibuka pada jam 8.30 pagi dan biasanya ditutup pada 1 jam sebelum matahari terbenam. Jika Anda ingin berkunjung ke Kolosium ini, biaya tiketnya sekitar 15,5 euro. Yang kedua adalah Museum Vatikan. Museum yang dalam bahasa Italia dikenal sebagai nama Musei Vaticani ini merupakan kumpulan beberapa museum kesenian publik dan patung di kota Vatikan. Tempat wisata di Italia ini menampilkan karya-karya terbaik yang dimiliki oleh Gereja Katolik Roma. Puncak dari Museum Vatikan ini adalah Chapel Sistina yang diresmikan pada tahun 1482. Chapel ini dibangun pada masa pemerintahan Paus Sixtus dan memiliki konsep sebagai chapel dari segala chapel. Memang dari segi arsitektur inilah chapel terindah dengan plafon melengkung. Jam kunjungan di museum ini bervariasi, tetapi pada umumnya dibuka pada jam 8.45 pagi hingga sore hari setiap hari Senin sampai hari Sabtu. Pada hari Minggu, Anda masih bisa berkunjung ke Museum Vatikan, tetapi pasti ditutup pada beberapa hari suci umat Katolik sepanjang tahun. Yang ketiga adalah Pantheon. Pantheon adalah sebuah bangunan yang dikonstruksikan pada tahun 27 Masehi sebagai kuil berbentuk bulat di pusat kota Roma. Pembangunan kuil ini diselesaikan pada masa pemerintahan Kaisar Hadrian pada tahun 126 Masehi. Hadrian membangun kuil ini untuk penyembahan terhadap dewa-dewa Romawi. Nama Pantheon sendiri berasal dari bahasa Yunani yang berarti rumah semua dewa. Kuil ini digunakan sebagai gereja dari tahun 609 sampai dengan 1885, dan kemudian menjadi gereja dengan tempat pemakaman bagi pahlawan nasional di Italia. Lalu yang keempat adalah Rumahnya Juliet dari karya Shakespeare. Seperti yang kalian bisa lihat di video di sini, seperti inilah penampakan dari Rumahnya Juliet dari karya Shakespeare yang berada di Italia. Lalu masih ada banyak lagi tempat yang bisa dikunjungi seperti Menara Pisa, Uffizi, Forum Romawi, dan Air Mancur Trevi.
Yang pertama ada Aquilegia berbergina atau biasa disebut Berbergina columbine. Ia merupakan spesies tanaman yang berasal dari famili Ranunculacea. Tanaman ini endemik di Italia dan hanya bisa ditemukan di Pulau Sardinia. Yang kedua ada Centaurea gymnocarpa, biasa disebut Fiordaliso di Capria dalam bahasa Italia, Centaurea of Capria or Caprian cornflower. Ia adalah salah satu spesies tumbuhan berbunga di famili Asteraceae. Ini adalah spesies langka endemik Italia yang hanya ditemukan di Capria, sebuah pulau kecil yang terletak di Kepulauan Tuscan dengan spesies yang tersebar di 8 subpopulasi di permukaan pulau. Habitat alaminya adalah vegetasi semak tipe Mediterania dan daerah berbatu, berkoloni di celah dan celah tebing. Yang ketiga ada Cherastium nutriens. Ia adalah salah satu spesies tumbuhan berbunga abadi dalam genus Cherastium yang termasuk dalam famili Charaphylliaceae. Ini pertama kali dijelaskan pada tahun 1988. Ini endemik di Italia. Cherastium nutriens adalah Hemerkitophyte yang membentuk tikar atau menggumpal. Nah, banyak banget nih hewan endemik yang berhabitat di wilayah yang jauh dari permukiman manusia, seperti daerah pegunungan dan pulau-pulau yang terpencil. Dengan penampilan yang unik dan sangat sulit untuk ditemukan, inilah 5 hewan endemik yang hanya terletak di negara Italia. Pertama ada Italian hare. Hewan ini juga mempunyai nama julukan yang lain seperti Corsican hare. Spesies kelinci ini hanya ditemukan di Italia bagian selatan, tepatnya di Pulau Sicily dan Korsika. Kelinci ini adalah spesies yang suka hidup menyendiri di habitat aslinya. Kelinci ini juga termasuk pada golongan natural yang aktif beraktivitas hanya pada malam hari. Kelinci hari ini juga dikenal atas kecepatannya. Ia bisa berlari hingga kecepatan 80 mil per jam, dan kemampuan mereka ini juga sangat berguna untuk mereka menyelamatkan diri dari predator buas. Yang kedua ada Sardian Long-eared. Ini adalah kelelawar yang berpenampilan yang sangat unik. Tidak seperti kelelawar yang lain yang ditemukan pada tahun 2002 di Pulau Sardinia. Dari namanya sendiri, kita bisa tebak bahwa kelelawar ini mempunyai telinga yang panjang lain dari kelelawar yang biasa. Kelelawar ini mempunyai ukuran tubuh yang kecil dan hanya seberat 9 gram. Yang ketiga ada Marsican Brown Bear. Beruang ini memiliki tubuh yang besar yang beratnya sekitar 495 lem sampai 220 kg. Mereka sangat suka mendiami wilayah hutan yang terdapat di pegunungan. Beruangnya lucu, tapi tidak selucu ice bear. Beruang ini mampu bertahan hidup sehingga usia 25 tahun. Yang keempat ada Aphanes shami. Ia adalah hewan sejenis kambing yang banyak hidup di daerah Eropa. Aphanes shami ini menjadi spesies dengan penampilan tubuh yang indah. Hewan ini juga sangat suka mendiami daerah tebing yang terdapat di daerah pegunungan. Yang terakhir adalah Clouded Apollo. Nah, wilayah Italia ini menyimpan 200 spesies kupu-kupu yang cantik dan salah satunya adalah Clouded Apollo. Hewan tersebut hanya bisa didapatkan di daerah pegunungan di wilayah bagian utara Sicily. Clouded Apollo ini merupakan kupu-kupu langka yang tubuhnya didominasi warna putih seperti awan serta bercak warna hitam.
Seperti layaknya negara-negara lain, Italia sendiri juga pernah mengalami bencana alam yang cukup besar. Salah satunya adalah gempa besar di Sisilia yang menewaskan lebih dari 60.000 orang. Pada 11 Januari 1693, gempa dahsyat menghantam Pulau Sisilia di selatan Italia. Area seluas lebih dari 5.600 km ini mencakup 45 kota yang sangat terdampak oleh gempa tersebut. Sebanyak lebih dari 60.000 orang dilaporkan tewas, terutama di kota Catania, di mana 2/3 populasinya kehilangan nyawa. Demikian Today in History sebagaimana dikutip dari situs web World History Project pada Kamis 10 Januari 2019. Bencana gempa Sisilia tercatat sebagai salah satu yang terbesar melanda Italia sebelum gempa maut di kota Messina pada 1908 silam. Gempa mengerikan pada tahun 1693 ini bermula sekitar jam 5 pagi waktu setempat di Selat Messina. Dengan kekuatan yang tercatat sampai magnitudo 7,4, bencana tektonik ini mendorong terjadinya longsor bawah laut di mana kemudian menyebabkan gelombang tsunami setinggi 40 kaki atau setara dengan 12,1 meter yang menghancurkan kota-kota di pantai Sisilia, sebagian pesisir Italia Selatan, dan bahkan menyapu beberapa kepulauan di perairan Mediterania. Hantaman gempa dan juga tsunami benar-benar menghancurkan banyak bangunan di Pulau Sisilia dan Malta, sehingga mendorong banyak penyintas memikirkan cara membangun kembali kehidupan mereka dengan lebih baik, termasuk pada arsitekturnya. Meski masih harus diteliti, dikutip dari arcgis.com, banyak arkeolog dan sejarawan meyakini bahwa gaya arsitektur barok tercipta akibat pengaruh gempa Sisilia ini. Lalu yang kedua adalah letusan gunung di Stromboli, Italia. Gunung berapi Stromboli di Italia adalah salah satu gunung berapi paling aktif di bumi dan telah meletus terus-menerus selama sekitar 2000 tahun. Sebagian besar aktivitasnya kecil berupa ledakan gas dan lava yang menyembur di atas tepi gunung berapi. Kadang-kadang Stromboli mengeluarkan suara gemuruh yang lebih besar. Ini terjadi pada November lalu ketika ledakan besar mengirimkan kolom abu ke udara dan longsoran aliran piroklastik menyapu lereng gunung berapi. Lalu yang ketiga adalah letusan Gunung Etna. Peristiwa ini terjadi pada akhir tahun 2020, tepatnya pada tanggal 14 Desember, ketika Gunung Etna di Italia meledakkan aliran lava bercahaya yang mengganggu perjalanan udara dan menciptakan pertunjukan kekuatan geologi yang mengesankan dengan semburan setinggi 4.000 meter ke atas. Sejarawan dan penulis sejarah kuno telah mencatat bahwa gunung ini mulai meletus sejak tahun 1500 sebelum Masehi. Gunung berapi tersebut juga diperkirakan telah aktif selama 500.000 tahun. Sebagian besar aktivitas letusan Gunung Etna tidak mengancam pusat populasi di sekitarnya. Hanya beberapa yang tercatat menghancurkan, misalnya pada tahun 1928 dengan aliran lahar besar dan tahun 2018 yang melukai sekitar 30 orang.
Prehistory. Monte Pogiolo is where the first hominins settled 850,000 years back. By the Bronze Age, 4 waves of migration occurred in the territories of Sardinia, Sicily, Tuscany, Lombardy, Liguria, South Tyrol, Capua, Campania, Salerno, and Sala Consilina. By the 8th century BC, Italy was in the proto-historical period and Phoenician script was introduced among the inhabitants. Etruscan civilization. The origin of the Etruscan is not known exactly. However, their civilization flourished after 800 BC in central Italy. The only connection that can be found is that they are an indigenous tribe and come from Villanovan culture. A recent study concluded that the Etruscan could be a result of an invasion from Near East. The Etruscans are the nearest to a Neolithic population from Central Europe. They concentrated on expanding their civilization in the Apennines. They has a strong political structure, although similar but much more refined than the Magna Greece. There was a non-Indo-European language that was used as a mode of communication. They followed monogamy. Mining of iron and copper and their trade led to the growth and prosperity of the Etruscans, who expanded their hold not only in the Italian peninsula but also towards the western parts of Mediterranean Sea. Around the 6th century BC, the Phocians, who were a Greek tribe, settled along the coast of Catalonia, France, and Corsica. The interests of the Etruscans conflicted with those of the Greeks. The Carthaginians also did not favor the Greeks and made allies with the Etruscans. Battle of Alalia was fought by Carthaginians and Etruscans, who fought as allies against the Greeks in 540 BC. Although it was an indecisive battle, Etruria relegated and moved towards the Tyrrhenian Sea and ruled on Corsica, whereas Carthaginians expanded over the Greek territories. After the 5th century, Etruria began to decline when they lost their territories in the south. Carthage did not survive long and was defeated by Magna Graecia in 480 BC. Etruscans lost their ally, which left them with lesser power. Battle of Cumae in 474 BC weakened the Etruria even more, as they lost Campania and Latium to the Samnites and Romans. The Greeks started settling in the southern parts of Italy, eastern Libya, eastern coast of Black Sea, and Marseille. The extended settlements were a result of overpopulation and even famine. The area of Sicily and the foot of Italy were referred to as Magna Graecia by the Romans. Magna Graecia in Latin meant Great Greece. The name was given so because of the dense population of Greeks in the area. When this colonization happened, there was much changes that took place in the Greek culture, especially in the dialects, traditions, and religion of the ancient Greek. The interaction of Italian and Latin civilizations led to the birth of original Hellenic civilization. The most significant cultural transfer was the Cumaean variation of Greek alphabet that was adopted by the Etruscans. The old alphabet of the Italians slowly advanced to modern Latin alphabet, which is now being used as the most common alphabet across the globe. Magna Graecia fell terribly after 282 BC when the Romans started expanding their empire. They were also susceptible to attacks from the barbarians. The accounts for the Roman kingdom have come down from 6 Dionysius of Halicarnassus, Livy, and Plutarch mainly. They mention about Rome being ruled in succession by 7 kings. According to the chronology that has been codified by Pharaoh, a total of 243 years have been marked as their rule, which means an average of 35 years for each king. The Gauls not only destroyed the lands and took lives in the Battle of Allia in 390 BC, but also burnt the written records, which could have been important proof about the kings who ruled the lands during those times. What remained of the records were either stolen or destroyed with time. The myths say that Rome was founded by Romulus and Remus, who were twin brothers and grandsons of the Latin king Numitor of Alba Longa. The Roman Republic was established roughly around 509 BC when the rule of 7 kings ended. By the 4th century, Romans took over the Italian peninsula, including the Etruria and the Greeks. The overpowering Romans had to face Carthage in the 3rd century. Although the Carthaginians were powerful, they were unable to subdue the Romans, and after the treaty, the Roman Republic went through a phase of social turbulence and political emergency. It was Julius Caesar who brought 2 more men together to bring back stability in the empire. Together with Pompey and Marcus Licinius Crassus, Caesar formed the first triumvirate. After the death of Crassus in 53 BC, the triumvirate broke and Pompey and Caesar fought for power. Caesar took over Rome in 49 BC, but his rule didn't last long and was assassinated in the year 44 BC. Once again, Rome was without a proper leader. Mark Antony took over the leadership of Rome, but his affair with Egyptian queen Cleopatra VII caused a political upheaval. Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, attacked Antony and crushed the Egyptian armies. Both Cleopatra and Antony committed suicide. Octavian was now the only ruler of the Republic. Punic Wars Rome took over Sicily, North Africa, and Hispania, ultimately destroying Carthage. In the 2nd century BC, they defeated the empires of Seleucid and Macedonia and ruled over the entire Mediterranean. The conquest led to a fusion amongst the Greek and the Romans. The Romans who were rural now became stylish and lavish. The Romans had one big empire and no enemies. Roman Empire. Octavian was the first emperor of Rome in 27 BC. He was now called Augustus. It was under him that Rome prospered and was at its peak in terms of magnificence and glory. Although there was a republican, Augustus had complete control of the empire. Roman literature grew fast, and poets like Ovid, Virgil, Rufus, Maecenas, and Horace made it possible for Latin literature to flourish. This period is referred to as the Golden Age of Latin literature. Epics such as Aeneid and other grand works of the poets became the gems of the period. Romans witnessed a 200-year peaceful and flourishing reign, which is referred to as Pax Romana. Although Rome was a strong empire, they continued to extend their boundaries, and some of their noted conquests comprise of conquests of Britannian, conquests of Dacia, conquests of Parthian Empire, and also the conquests of Germanic tribes. The death of Emperor Theodosius I in 395 marked the end of the mighty Romans, as this Rome was divided into Eastern and Western Roman Empire. For some time, Odoacer managed to keep the Western Empire united under his rule for some time, but it was conquered soon. The western part was pestered with barbaric invasions and was taken over by several small barbarian kingdoms. Middle Ages. Italy was distraught and shattered after it was conquered by Ostrogoths. Gothic war led to disease and famine in the country. This also led to the Lombards taking over the Italian peninsula. In 751, the Lombards captured Ravenna, overthrowing the Byzantine Empire. The papacy in Rome was now face to face with a new power, the Lombards. They looked forward to the Franks to help them fight the Lombards. The Franks defeated the Lombards, and the papacy has the reign of central Italy in their hands once again. Rose during these times in North Africa, Arabian Peninsula, and Middle East, and the southern parts were under constant attacks from Abbasid Caliphate and Umayyad Caliphate. Italy was under the Islamic rule from 965 to 1061. The Pope crowned Charlemagne and the Holy Roman Emperor in St. Peter's Basilica. The successors of Charlemagne were weak and could not uphold the empire together. As the millennium came end, so did the dark times for the Italian peninsula. They established papal states, backed their strength and popularity slowly, and the papacy was once again in control. Papacy always faced some or the other rebellions or conflicts throughout their rule. These problems were never ending and carried on till the medieval ages. In 1176, the Lombard League of Communes finally defeated Frederick Barbarossa in the Battle of Legnano and established an autonomous rule. The southern parts of the peninsula had a completely different story. Normans who ended the Islamic rule in Sicily. The Norman kingdom of Sicily was now ruled by Roger II. Roger II brought together all the smaller cities under one powerful rule. He united the southern peninsula into a large and strong kingdom. A Byzantine emperor, Manuel Komnenos, tried to conquer back the lost lands but was unsuccessful. Brought an end to 600 years old history of Lombard and Byzantine possessions of lands. The north was under the pressure of communes. The Normans, Islam. The Byzantines left Italy in the year 1158. The Norman kingdom stood strong till 1194, before it was taken by the Staufen dynasty, which was a German tribe. Sicily was under the influence of several such dynasties till the 19th century. Italy had a very different form of administration that ruled it for centuries. Both church and imperial people had powers, but both had different tracks and none of them intersected each other's path. The cities and state prospered and gained fame and wealth throughout trade, which led to development of art and culture. This automatically set in the environment for Renaissance. Feudalism did not exist anymore, and the society was mostly based on trade and commerce with merchants who took care of these areas. Venice, Florence, and Milan were the leading cities and played an important role in the financial uplifting of Italy. Also emerged new types of economics and social organization in the societies. Maritime was booming, and Genoa, Florence, Amalfi, and Pisa were among the leading cities where production of ships happened. The ships were extensively built for trading and the protection of the cities. Genoa and Florence has become Europe's gateway for trade with the East.
Renaissance. All of Europe was influenced by a thriving art, science, politics, literature, and history of Italy. It was the most significant center for Renaissance. In the later part of the Middle Ages, the southern and central Italy, which were once throbbing cities of Magna Graecia and Roman Empire, Rome was ruined and papacy has no control over law and order. The papacy moved to Avignon in France, and then Sardinia, Sicily, and Naples were under foreign control for some time, had now degraded and were quite low compared to the northern peninsula. The cities of Italy extended their boundaries vastly and now completely control the Holy Roman Empire. The Black Death plague came to the city of Italy in 1348 and killed about one-third of the population. The phase when these cities recovered from the losses is when Renaissance and humanism occurred, and finally, Italy took back its position as a leader in the Western civilization. It was the rebirth of not only urbanization and the economy, but also the art and culture. The Italian Renaissance began first in Tuscany, that was in the city of Florence. Spreading south, the Romans were also impressed by this, and their Rome was then rebuilt by the popes of Renaissance period. 15th century was when Renaissance was at its peak, and it was then that it was plagued by foreign invasions. Renaissance began in Florence and moved to Lucca and Siena. Tuscan painting and architecture became models for all the city in the central and northern parts of Italy. Italian Wars. Italian wars began in 1494 when France invaded northern Italy and several states lost their independence. The main reason for the wars was a dispute among dynasties between the Kingdom of Naples and the Duchy of Milan. This dispute slowly increased and gave fire to fiercer battles which included more states and alliances. Charles V led the French armies at the Battle of Pavia in 1529, and the War of the League of Cognac that lasted for 4 years, which is 1526 until 1530. Years of wars and battles could not decide a winner, and ultimately with the Peace of France, relinquished its claim and instated long Spanish domination over the peninsula. The Turks attacked the vicinity of Venice in 1499 and destroyed the neighborhoods. It was attacked again in the 1509 by the League of Cambrai. The German and Spanish troops sacked Rome on May 6, 1527, and destroyed the city except for the papacy. Abruzzi and Apulia were sacked in 1528, and then in 1529 and 1530, they saw the siege of Florence, which brought the destruction to the neighborhood environment. Italy's trade was ruined, and most of the citizens became poor. The population became half, and then the wool and silk industries that were once booming were devastated. The ransom that was paid to the invaders and taxes charged buried Italy completely. The recovery would be excruciating and long. The period of 17th century was an unbridled time that was marked by political upheaval and social unrest. This was because of the Spanish effect on the Italian peninsula, the power of papacy, the reaction of Catholics against the Protestant Reformation, and the Counter-Reformation of Catholics. Although there were several accomplishments in the field of arts and sciences, which included the Baroque style of painting and discoveries made by Galileo in the field of astronomy, there was an inclusive decline in the economy of Italy. Italy undoubtedly had some of the best explorers who led to several important discoveries. Amerigo Vespucci, Christopher Columbus, and Giovanni da Verrazzano are the famous names in the list of discoverers. Despite their fame, Venice and other Italian ports were no longer considered as important, as the main hubs were now moved towards the west in the Atlantic. 30 years of wars in which the Spanish were involved between 1618 to 1648 financed their armies by levying heavy taxes on the Italians and drained them dry. Their commerce and agriculture suffered tremendously. In 1630, the Black Death returned and emaciated Milan and Venice. About 25% of the population was lost to the horrific plague, Another plague in 1656 claimed the lives of 43% of population in the Kingdom of Naples. The Roman Republic was formed, and the Pope was sent to France. He formed the Kingdom of Italy in 18. The French army of Italy, led by Napoleon, invaded Italy in 1796, and between 1797 and 1799, Napoleon had conquered almost all of Italy and called it the French Revolution. He was based in Milan, and he set up new rules and laws in 1805 and declared himself as a king. Unification of Italy. The social and political process that unified the Italian peninsula is known as Risorgimento. Although there is no specific date that can be said about this unification, but a scholar said that it began with the Congress of Vienna in 1815 and ended with the Franco-Prussian War in 1871. There were many disputes among the leaders when it came to unification. The unification started happening only after the Revolution of 1848. Italian nationalist Giuseppe Garibaldi took the lead in Italian drive for a united Italy. Italy made allies with France and Britain, which also helped in the unification. The southern parts of Italy were considered to be backwards, while the northern parts of Italy were much modernized. The people of the South were not asked to give their views on important matters. The misunderstanding and gap led to civil wars which lasted for 10 long years. By the time these revolts ended, millions moved to South America, United States, and many more industrial cities such as Turin, Genoa, and Milan. Liberal Italy. King Victor Emmanuel II united most of the states of Peninsula. The main builders of unified Italy were the chief minister of Victor Emmanuel, Camillo Benso, Giuseppe Garibaldi, and Count of Cavour. The Prussian prime minister ordered Victor Emmanuel II to annex Venice that was controlled by Austria in exchange for the Kingdom of Prussia. He agreed to the alliance, and it led to the Third Italian War of Independence. Austria lost, and Venice was added back to Italy once again. The only thing that came in the way of unification was Rome. In 1870, Italy took over the Papal State, ultimately unifying Italy. The capital of Italy was moved from Florence to Rome. The 19th century saw industrialization at its boom, and modernization was speeding. Agostino de Pertis took over Italy as the prime minister and implemented a new political idea which he called transformismo. Transformism was all about a cabinet that was to pick several reasonable and proficient politicals from a non-partisan outlook. But this was not so. De Pertis pressurized the districts to vote for those who favored him. He banned public meetings, and all those who posed a threat were killed and was sent to remote islands. Some of the things that can be counted as the positive side of him were that elementary education was made free, arrests for incurring debts were stopped, and compulsory religious teaching were also stopped. He was forced to resign in 1877, however, he was back in 1881. He was once again thrown out in 1887 when the country faced continuous decline. Initially, Italy chose to remain quiet on taking sides of the war, but the London Pact declared that it was a war on Austro-Hungarian Empire. Italy was promised a huge territory in exchange. Although the army was huge, it was poorly supplied and even more poorly led. The effectiveness of the war was pitiable, and it continued for 3 years. In 1916, Italy declared war on Germany, and the Austrians, who already had higher grounds, got more privilege. Thousands of Italian soldiers were killed and more were injured. The government had to bring Italy back to a higher level, so it increased the labor wages and introduced collective bargaining and insurance schemes. The industries began to expand, although the industrial wages matched the rising inflation. The farmers suffered the most. The residents in the rural areas were not happy. The Treaty of Saint-Germain announced Italy as victorious and awarded it. The Pact of London did not give Italy its promise, so the triumph was thought to be mutilated. Fascism in Italy. Benito Mussolini was the founder of the Fascist Party. He has participated in World War I and was working with the socialist newspaper. He later broke off and established Fasi di Combattimento on March 23, 1919. The period of 1919 and 1920 was seen as a time of strikes, political instability, unemployment, and economic crisis. The strikes were not only among the industries and factories, but also among the peasants and farmers in the rural parts of Italy. The National Fascist Party managed to suppress all the rebels and tried to bring peace and order to the country. In the October of 1920, Mussolini put forth his demands when there was a strike. He told the government to give the power to the Fascist Party or Italy would have to face a coup. A group of 30,000 fascists marched from Italy to Rome and they said they would restore order in Italy. Then they asked the ruling Prime Minister Luigi Facta to be replaced by Mussolini. Even though King Victor Emmanuel II had a much powerful army than the fascists, the political system was going through a crisis. He had to choose between the fascists or the Marxists. He filtered down to fascists. Once the fascists were in power, Mussolini passed a law that stated 2/3 of the seats would be given to the party that would manage to get 25% of the vote. The 1924 election was not pleasant, as the fascists forcefully reached the goal of 25%. Benito Mussolini cleverly removed any obstacles that checked his power and finally, in 1926, he passed a law that he was the only person who was responsible to the king. All their local governments were dissolved and officials were appointed while the mayors and council were thrown out. In 1928, there were no parties except for the fascists. The treaty also stated that the Catholicism was the only religion of the state. Other religions were tolerated as well. Mussolini and Hitler met in 1934, and then Mussolini wanted some assurance from him that the Nazis would not try to control the Europe. Mussolini decided to attack Ethiopia in 1935, and Second Italo-Abnesian War stemmed from the international isolation of Italy because Britain and France has now lost their trust in Benito Mussolini. Germany's invasion of Poland marked World War II. Although he supported Hitler, Benito Mussolini said that he was neutral. Mussolini, along with the fascists, wanted to seize the Middle East and Africa. He was warned by the king about the army not being efficient enough for a long-term war, and to fly the weapons and tanks. Mussolini took the advice and waited when France was attacked by Germany. France lost, and it was now that Mussolini entered the war. Mussolini expected to speedily seize Savoy, Nice, Corsica, and the African colonies of Tunisia and Algeria. But Germany signed an armistice with the Marshal Philippe Pétain, which reserved control on the southern France and colonies. This resolution infuriated the fascist government. Italy couldn't stand any France and was losing continuously. By 1943, there were many battles that they lost. On July 25, 1943, Mussolini was arrested by King Victor Emmanuel III. The National Fascist Party was banned, and a new prime minister was appointed, which is General Pietro Badoglio. Mussolini was saved by a German commando in Operation Ecce. The fascists helped the Nazis in several ways, but they finally lost. Mussolini was caught on April 25, 1945,
and was executed for treason the next day, thus ending a long fascist rule in Italy. The Italian Republic. On June 2, 1946, the Republican won 54% of the vote, and this made Italy a republic. The House of Savoy was barred from entering Italy. This bar was lifted only in 2002. By 1950, Italy was established and in 1957, the economy and commerce developed soon and Italy was finally free from their troubles. Wars and revolts, battles and rebellions had left the country weak, but it recovered soon. The country is now leading in global trade and commerce. Italy became one of the founding members of the European Economic Community, that is now European Union. There have been many changes in the government after the Republic and today a thriving country. Italy has been marked by chapters of momentary long separation and union of feudal kingdoms and intercommon conflicts. With its 60 million residents, the country now enjoys peace, has developed culture and high standards of living. It is now a prosperous country and has developed a high sense of growth compared to the early years of the 20th century when the country was dependent on agriculture. Tourism has now prospered, and its capital Rome happens to be on the list of tourists' favorite place to visit. Venice is one of the most romantic escaping places for couples. It is addressed as the last Serenissima and the Queen of Adriatic. Literature, art, culinary, music, religion, and philosophy seems to thrive in Italy. The country has preserved its reminiscence from the wondrous painters and sculptures of ancient times. Italy has in store some rare and extraordinary gift for people of the Italy has in store some of rare and extraordinary gift for the people around the world.
Di Italia, keluarga itu sangat penting. Dan acara keluarga itu menjadi highlight keseharian mereka. Mereka berbagi berita penting, gosip, dan makanan selama acara mingguan atau bulanan itu. Mereka biasanya merayakan tradisi ini di rumah terbesar di keluarga mereka. Biasanya nona atau nenek dari keluarga itulah yang menyiapkan makanan untuk semua orang. Para lansia merupakan bagian penting dari keluarga di Italia. Anggota keluarga yang lebih tua dihadapi dengan rasa hormat dari setiap anggota keluarganya. Warga Italia kebanyakan beragama Katolik. Vatikan merupakan institusi Katolik penting yang berada di Roma, Italia. Pergi ke gereja setiap minggu merupakan tradisi penting bagi keluarga penganut agama tersebut. Konsep bella figura termasuk penting di Italia, yang berarti style atau cara berpakaian itu penting di sana. Yang pertama, hindari mengunjungi tujuan wisata utama. Mitos ini pada dasarnya beralasan Anda dianjurkan untuk mengunjungi tempat wisata lainnya sebelum bertandang ke tempat wisata utama seperti Colosseum, Santo Petrus, dan Pantheon. Hal ini untuk menghindari Anda dari situasi yang ramai tidak terkendali di tempat-tempat wisata tersebut. Jadi, pintar-pintarlah dalam berwisata. Yang kedua adalah wanita tidak boleh keluar sendirian. Mitos ini bukan berarti Italia sebagai negara yang rentan dengan kejahatan. Wanita yang berjalan sendirian di Italia biasanya akan menarik perhatian laki-laki di sana. Mereka akan mengikuti dan menyampaikan pujian dan melemparkan senyuman. Anda hanya harus membalas dengan sopan. Namun bagi Anda yang risih dengan hal ini, disarankan untuk membawa serta teman lelaki Anda ketika akan berjalan keluar penginapan. Yang ketiga, pencopet tersebar di seluruh kota. Pencopet yang selalu ada di mana-mana bukan hanya permasalahan di Italia saja, negara besar mana yang tidak ada pencopetnya. Dengan adanya mitos ini, dapat memberikan kesadaran kepada Anda agar waspada dan lebih memperhatikan barang bawaan Anda. Meskipun tengah menikmati indahnya Italia, bukan berarti Anda melupakan keselamatan pribadi.
Politik Italia dilaksanakan melalui republik parlementer dengan sistem multipartai. Italia menjadi republik demokratis sejak 2 Juni 1946, ketika monarki dihapuskan oleh referendum dan majelis konstitusional terpilih untuk menyusun konstitusi, yang diundangkan pada 1 Januari 1948. Kekuatan eksekutif dijalankan oleh para Dewan Menteri, yang dipimpin oleh Perdana Menteri, secara resmi disebut sebagai Presiden Dewan. Kekuasaan legislatif dipegang terutama pada 2 majelis parlemen dan pada Dewan Menteri, yang dapat mengajukan rancangan undang-undang dan juga memegang mayoritas di kedua majelis. Badan yudikatif tidak bergantung pada eksekutif dan legislatif. Kehakiman di Italia dikepalai oleh Dewan Tinggi Kehakiman, yaitu sebuah badan yang diketuai oleh presiden yang merupakan kepala negara. Meskipun posisi ini atau presiden ini terpisah dari semua cabang.
Presiden saat ini adalah Sergio Mattarella dan Perdana Menteri saat ini adalah Giuseppe Conte. Economist Intelligence Unit menilai Italia menjalankan demokrasi semu pada tahun 2017. Fragmentasi dan ketidakstabilan tingkat tinggi yang sering menyebabkan pemerintahan koalisi berumur pendek adalah karakteristik politik Italia. Sejak akhir Perang Dunia II, Italia telah memiliki 61 pemerintahan. Italia memiliki ekonomi terbesar ke-9 di dunia. Struktur ekonominya bergantung terutama pada jasa dan manufaktur. Sektor jasa menyumbang hampir 3/4 dari total PDB dan mempekerjakan sekitar 65% dari total orang yang bekerja di negara itu. Di sektor jasa, penyumbang terbesarnya adalah sektor grosir, penjualan eceran, dan pengangkutan. Industri menyumbang 1/4 dari total produksi Italia dan mempekerjakan sekitar 30% dari total tenaga kerja. Manufaktur merupakan subsektor terpenting dalam sektor industri di Italia. Manufaktur negara mengkhususkan diri pada barang-barang berkualitas tinggi dan terutama dijalankan oleh perusahaan kecil dan menengah. Kebanyakan dari mereka adalah perusahaan milik keluarga. Yang terakhir, pertanian menyumbang sisa dari PDB dan mempekerjakan sekitar 4% dari total angkatan kerja. Dengan latar belakang permintaan domestik yang lemah, kinerja sektor eksternal sangatlah penting bagi perekonomian Italia. Salah satu penopang perekonomian yang paling penting adalah produksi produk-produk berkualitas tinggi seperti permesinan, tekstil, desain industri, alimen, dan furniture. Produk-produk ini berkontribusi besar pada ekspor negara. Namun, sebagai negara yang miskin sumber daya nasional, sektor energi dan manufakturnya sangat bergantung kepada impor. Hal ini membuat posisi eksternal Italia rentan terhadap perubahan harga impor seperti bahan bakar. Daerah ini mencatat defisit perdagangan dari 2004 hingga 2011. Namun, dalam 2 tahun terakhir, penurunan impor telah membantu mengubah neraca menjadi angka positif. Dalam 7 tahun terakhir, titik fokus dari kebijakan ekonomi Italia adalah untuk mengurangi dampak krisis keuangan. 2 paket penghematan utama telah diperkenalkan sejak krisis dimulai pada tahun 2007. Kedua paket tersebut bertujuan untuk mengurangi melonjaknya hutang publik dan defisit pemerintah negara. Mengenai reformasi struktural, hanya sedikit perubahan yang dilakukan selama bertahun-tahun. Pemerintah berupaya mereformasi administrasi publik dan pendidikan publik dalam upaya meningkatkan daya saing sumber daya manusianya. Namun iklim investasi tetap buruk, terutama karena undang-undang ketenaga kerjaan yang kaku, biaya tenaga kerja yang tinggi, layanan publik yang tidak efisien, dan sistem peradilan. Dampak dari corona terhadap warga Italia pun lumayan besar. Banyak dari mereka kehilangan pekerjaan ketika mereka tidak memiliki tabungan. Pada akhirnya mereka hanya bergantung kepada bantuan pemerintah dan keluarga mereka.
Oke, jadi itu aja dari video kita. Semoga kalian bisa dapat mengetahui hal-hal baru yang kalian belum ketahui dari negara Italia. Sekian dan terima kasih. Watch bloopers. Eropa.
Ih, rasa kolam renang, sumpah. Iya gak sih? Rasa kolam renang. Kayak lu pernah minum air kolam renang gak sih? Gue sering aja karena gue gak bisa berenang.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never.
Okay, we can explain about what is Italy.
Hah?
We can explain first apa itu Italy.
I don't know.
Ada yang pakai oksigen guys. Oh, so awkward. Hey guys, ini adalah
Why is my friend so stupid?
1, 2, 3.
Hey guys.
FBI, open up! Using for your eyes.